It's the Unhappy Hour.
All right, everybody, we're back. This is Brian Engelman. You're listening to the Unhappy Hour here on the TNAM Radio Network at thenewamericanmedia.com. Special thanks to John Correa of Active Self-Protection. Man, you got to check out that show. It's just self-defense, self-defense, self-defense. Check out the show. Important issue, things that we need to be aware of. Check out our homepage as well, thenewamericanmedia.com. Subscribe, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. But on our homepage of thenewamericanmedia.com on the right-hand side, it says TNAM Radio. That's where you click play to listen to the show live. And underneath is our Twitter feed. We're at American_media_. And on Facebook, do a search for The New American Media with spaces in between, and you can like the page. But definitely follow us in all of these areas. I'm going to bring in Zak Baris because we're talking NBA playoffs. This day, everything with the schedule is just wonky, I guess. Wonky is the best way to describe the schedule that we all have today.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Zach, I'm living the dream. I was just telling the listeners that this is a wonky schedule kind of day. We are all kind of moving and going and doing all these different things, different time of the show, so I appreciate you making some time, albeit brief, I understand that. But it's NBA playoff season, and we've kind of all trudged through the regular season going, can we please get there and please get there healthy, and can it happen yet? Guess what? It happened, Zach.
I'm ready for it. I'm going on Sunday, so I'm pumped.
Hell yeah. Well, you know what? I tell you this all the time, and you always forget. You got to tweet us at American_media_. You got to tag us, take some pictures, and throw it up on our Twitter feed, and we'll retweet it to our 20,000 people or whatever.
It's tough to tweet when you're in the arena. Here's the problem.
Oh, that's right.
20,562 in that arena. I'm at almost every home game, at least when I'm in town. Season ticket holder. But the problem is it takes forever to send out those tweets when you're sitting there. Half the time they don't send. It's very tough sometimes. So I will try to send one out Sunday.
Yeah, I remember I had a real hard time, I think, when I was at Berkeley watching the Buckeyes trounce Cal maybe 2 years ago. It was really hard getting a tweet out of there because you're kind of nestled in the mountains, and it was really rough. I think at the Horseshoe I was able to get a few out.
It's tough when you have that many people clogging up one cell phone tower. Makes it really tough. Although Quicken Loans Arena has done a really nice job adding. But if 20,000 people are all taking a picture at the same time and trying to upload it, it's tough.
Yeah, and I'll give you that. That's fair. But we're in the playoffs now. Thank God we're here. I want to go through the matchups if we can. I want to kind of go through it. How long do we have you for, by the way? I know we're.
You got me for about as long as I'm on the freeway going to my appointment. So you got me for roughly 15 to 20 minutes.
Perfect. Atlanta Hawks, Brooklyn Nets, go.
I think the Hawks will cream them. I mean, I tend to think that Brooklyn might snag a game here, so I'm going to say the Hawks in 5.
You think Brooklyn could take one when it's?
I think they could take one. Yeah, I mean, Atlanta's going to win the series, but barring some unforeseen injury. Otherwise, Atlanta will win the series in 4 or 5.
Now,
I'm going to say Atlanta in 5. I'm going to go safe.
Okay, so Hawks in 5. Does that make well, like you said, barring some sort of injury, like when you're a team, maybe sans superstars, without the superstars
I think, though, Atlanta's got 4 All-Stars, but here's the thing with Atlanta. I think Atlanta just got incredibly lucky, because they were looking at a first-round matchup with Indiana with a healthy Paul George coming back. Granted, I think they would have beaten Indiana, but it probably would have gone to 6 games, maybe even 7. I don't know. But Indiana's been playing great basketball, but they've missed out after getting beat by Memphis in the last game of the year. And then you have another series where the Bulls wound up winning. The Raptors lost to the Celtics. One of the last nights of the season. So you get the Raptors Wizards instead of the Bulls, which is big.
Yeah.
Well, I think Atlanta got I think they're very fortunate. I don't want to say lucky. I think fortunate's the word.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be lucky when, you have the best record in the East and you've had it all year. You're pretty consistently good. Although, since the Timothy Mozgov trade, the Cavs are the best. Let's remember that.
They're 34-9 with 2 cakewalk losses against the Celtics, which they lost on purpose.
Yeah. Oh, how did that work out with that weird thing with the Lakers and the Sixers with the draft picks?
Is this what we discussed the other night, I think?
Yeah, I mean, we were starting to get into. I've been following the Lakers.
Okay, so basically the Sixers got screwed because they would have had the Heat's first round pick if it landed outside of the top 10. The Heat fell in the top 10 this year. I mean, this is something we discussed at the show beginning of the year, how valuable that pick could be, but the Cavaliers would have had it anyway. Now looking at it, they would have wound up getting it next year
because it was a protected pick. We would not have had
top 10 protected pick in the Heat. Now, I mean, they fell off really badly at the end of the season, so they're going to, they retain their pick. Fortunate, they're fortunate enough to have their pick. Getting back to it, too, it's the Sixers also. The Lakers finished, unless two teams magically jump them from outside of the top five, which is very tough to do, but we've seen it before. Odds are the Lakers will be keeping their pick. So Philly really, really got screwed.
And so it's okay. So it's not where you finish at the end of the year. It's where the lottery ping pong balls go. So if the Lakers were in the top five here, but they slipped to six.
Let's say a team outside of the top 10 jumps Miami and jumps in the lottery, and Miami falls back a spot. The pick goes to Philly, but the odds of that happening, we've never seen that before. The highest one we've ever seen is pick number 9 by the Cavs and the Bulls. The ninth worst team in the league gets the number 1 overall pick. That's the highest we've ever seen.
But it could happen.
It could.
But I wouldn't bank on it.
Going to.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, that was weird where that was a game where nobody wanted to win the game. Heat and Sixers.
Yep.
Yeah, right at the end of the year.
Like literally nobody wanted to win. So getting to the next series, you got the Cavs and the Celtics. I think the Cavaliers will take care of them in 4. I just don't think, when you've got LeBron healthy, Kevin Love has been resting. He's been playing better. You've got Kyrie, back from the little hip thing that he had. You've got your rotation set for the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see Blatt's rotation on Sunday. But I tend to think you'll basically see Mozgov at the 5, Love at the 4, LeBron at the 3, JR at the 2, Kyrie at the 1.
That's a tough team.
With your 6th and 7th men being Shumpert and Tristan, in no specific order right there, first off the bench. And then you'll see a lot of mixing up, I tend to think. You'll see LeBron playing about 40 minutes. So I think you'll see a lot less Dellavedova. At least this year, if I were the coach of the team, you'd be seeing a lot less Dellavedova and LeBron playing more of a point forward when Kyrie's out of the game.
Yeah, because for a while there, they were putting LeBron in the post, kind of warming him up. You think they're just saving that for the tough series, like this, maybe Chicago?
No, not at all. I think LeBron will be playing in the post a lot. But I tend to think when Kyrie's out, you'll see him more at the point guard position, more at the point forward.
Okay.
That's just my. I think you'll see Dellavedova's been playing better lately. I think he'll get some minutes. It'll be interesting to see where does Sean Marion fit in. Will he get any minutes? It'll be very, very, very interesting to see at this point.
Do you think we'll know?
Man rotation will be.
Do you think we'll know by the end of game 1 if they're not going to do it in game, or just situational? It might totally change by game 2.
It depends. If game 1 they're up by 30 points, you're going to see Brennan Haywood in.
Who hit a game-winning shot the other night, right?
Yeah. It just depends on the situation.
That might have been his first shot all year. That was fun.
I don't know. He's had some other points. I think maybe 4. But
4.
Here's the thing. Looking at it, you're not, I have a feeling the Cavaliers are going to beat them pretty badly in games 1 and 2. It'll be interesting to see what happens in game 3 and 4. But I'm not worried about the Cavs. The problem is the playoffs are a totally different scenario than the regular season. The regular season is a lot more team-oriented. Same with the playoffs, too. But the thing is, the playoffs are where you really see the superstars come out to play. The Cavaliers have 3 of them. That's the difference. That's the difference between the Cavs and Boston. Boston, you can't give me a guy who's going to consistently lead his team in scoring every night on that entire roster. One night it's going to be Marcus Smart. One night it's going to be, well, probably not, but one night it's going to be Isaiah Thomas. The other night it's going to be Jared Solinger. There's no guy who's really going to find, taking the lead and taking control of that team. And that's the issue when you're a playoff team and you don't really have that one superstar who can take over when need be. Look at the times when, we've seen the team with 4 All-Stars in Detroit get beat by the Cavs with their one superstar because you had a person that could individually take over a game. That's going to be Atlanta's problem down the stretch, I think. I don't think Kyle Korver's capable of putting up 30 in any given night, or Jeff Teague, or Paul Millsap, or Al Horford. They're all 15 to 17-point-a-night guys. And getting back to it, this is why I think the Cavaliers and the Bulls are the 2 teams that could come out of the East, and I think it'll be the Cavaliers. So I think you'll see the Cavaliers beat Boston in 4. Getting to the next series, the Bulls. Bulls in Milwaukee. I think you'll see Chicago take that one in 5. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It really gets interesting with Chicago because a lot of these guys want really, really heavy minutes. And is Rose on a minutes restriction? Is Joakim Noah on a minutes restriction? Probably not, but we don't know. Tibbs overworks his guys. He's notorious for doing it.
Yeah, that's what he's known for.
Very familiar with that organization, and I can tell you right now, Tom Thibodeau, it also remains to see, will Tom Thibodeau be back as the coach of the Bulls next year? That's another big question mark.
What do you think? What's your gut tell you? If you just had to,
No.
no.
As of today, no. Granted, if they make it to the finals, he'll be back.
Who would be a good if the Bulls don't make it to the playoffs and your gut says he'll probably be out? Who's
make it to the finals?
Who's out there? Who's out there that would be a good fit there? Who's available as a coach?
It remains to be seen at this point. I really couldn't tell you as of today who it could be.
So there's no superstar name just sitting there like when Urban Meyer took a year off and he's doing ESPN and you're going, ooh.
I just at this point, it'd be very hard to tell who would come in there. You know, who Gar and Paxton's personal choices are at this point. You know.
No, that's fair. And we don't know who that would be. That's highly speculative, but we can specifically talk about this one. Scott Brooks is on the hot seat. We're saying farewell to Russell Westbrook in a great season. So, just what are your thoughts on Russell Westbrook missing out on it, and is Scott Brooks on his way out because he's not your favorite coach?
He took a ton of shots. I mean, but they really have no one else. Would you rather have Russell Westbrook taking up 43 shots a game, or would you rather have Deion Waiters taking 25 shots? I mean, it's got to go to Westbrook.
Yeah, of course.
So, you know, at least if I were going to choose it, I mean, yeah, he took a lot of shots, but sometimes you have to be that guy and take the shots. You know, I think Scott Brooks was put in a hard position, but, you know, like I said, Scott Brooks has had his chances. You know, I don't think the front office did him any favors when they traded James Harden away.
Of course.
Because right now, they probably would have won the last 2 titles. I'm sticking with that. I've been saying that for 2 years now, that without Harden, with Harden, that team would have won the last 2 finals. They would have gotten over the hump and been able to beat Miami in the last 2 years. And I can tell you this right now. In this year, I don't even know. I think they would have still been a high 50-win team without Kevin Durant if they had James Harden on that team.
Harden's kind of he's really come into his own this year. We've known he's been talented, but
he
man,
came into his own last year and the year before that. But I mean, the thing is they're ultimately, when they made that Deion Waiters trade, giving up what they did in the Waiters trade, you know, they were basically saying, okay, Deion Waiters is going to come in here and be our James Harden 3 years ago. A guy who can put up 16, 17 any given night, come in here and provide great scoring off the bench. That's what they brought in Waiters for. That's not what Deion Waiters accomplished. It just isn't.
No. Well, and it's just an interesting time where, you know, now everybody's thinking about Durant in the future. I like how you proposed that Durant for Blake Griffin trade, where Blake gets to go back to Oklahoma.
You know, it's something that I'm telling you will be explored this summer. If Sam Presti is smart, he will explore it. Not saying he'll make the trade, but will at least be explored because you have the chance right now to pair up Blake Griffin and be an elite team in the West. Granted, I think if the Clippers get Durant, they're going to be unstoppable in the West with Chris Paul and Durant and DeAndre Jordan and J.J. Redick. I think they'd be unbeatable. But, you know, it's something that needs to be looked at because Blake Griffin's a hometown kid who's signed for multiple years.
And let me ask you about this real quick, and then we'll get to the Raptors and the Wizards. Do you like that you have to wait until a player's final year before you can sign him for an extension? Do you think it might be better if you could extend it?
I mean, I kind of like baseball and football where there's no telling. You can tell how long you're going to have a guy for. You know, it gives you more leverage to trade someone when they've got 3 years left on their deal. You know, I like being able to extend a guy in there. I don't like having to go sit there, oh, God. You know, it's frustrating as a Cavs fan going, what's Kevin Love going to do? What is he going to do?
Exactly. Kevin Love, LeBron when he's on his way out. It's like, you know, you set a mid-season mark. It's like, hey, man, we're ready to sign you the year before you can.
I mean, look at Miami last year. You didn't know what Bosh was. You didn't know what LeBron was going to do. You know, it's sitting there and going, okay, LeBron's coming back. Bosh coming goes in. LeBron up top, Bosh up top, Wade up top. Okay, we got back Wade. Okay, what are we going to do about Bosh? Bosh, is he coming back? Well, if LeBron comes back, he's coming back. If not, we're going to have to max him out. We're going to have to overpay Chris Bosh. Okay, there, we paid Chris Bosh. You know, it's tough. It's very, very tough. As a Heat fan, it must have been tough. As a fan of any team, as a fan of the Lakers with Dwight Howard.
Oh,
you know, it's got to be tough. You want to know what your guys are going to do. I think it's better for these NBA players to sit back and say, hey, listen, fans won't hate me until my final days. So I don't have to go 3 years before and go, you know what, I don't want to extend for another 5 years.
It's their shield. Well, yeah, you know, and maybe like extend for 5 years with a player opt-out halfway through, but you don't have to wait until that final, you know, gun against your head moment where it's like, oh, crap, this whole season is just going to be tense the entire. I was just curious about that because it's something to consider. I like how the NFL changed their rookie salary caps, where they're not coming in making $60 million, Sam Bradford, Jamarcus Russell money, which is just obscene. You got to kind of prove yourself now, which is a way better system.
That. Yeah, why does Sam Bradford deserve $80 million?
Give me a break.
$70 million guaranteed for a guy that's played 16 career games.
Give me a break. But hey, since time's running out, Raptors Wizards, what's going on there? That's the 4 or 5.
I'm going to have to take the Raptors in 7 here. I don't really like either team. I don't think either team's playing great basketball.
Raptors were good earlier in the year. Why was it different earlier?
The Raptors don't have a superstar. They have a lot of very good players. I really like Kyle Lowry. I like Jonas Valanciunas. I'm not a DeMar DeRozan fan by any means. I hate when people make the DeMar DeRozan argument that DeMar DeRozan is one of the top 3 shooting guards in the league. It drives me crazy. I get in this point when people go, DeMar DeRozan's so great, and I'm like, okay, you want to get into this right now? I'll do it. I think DeMar DeRozan's very overrated. Give me Dwayne Wade still any day over him. There's a lot of players I'd still take over DeMar DeRozan. I'd take Jimmy Butler over him 10 out of 10 times.
But this is the 4-5 matchup, ideally, or at least...
The Wizards have not been playing well. I see it going to 7, but I see Toronto winning it. Like I said, if Washington wins it won't surprise me. I'd like to see the Wizards win it.
Yeah.
But I think Toronto's going to in 7, just because they've got the home court.
Yeah, and the 4-5 matchup is theoretically the most fair or balanced, at least in theory. Of course, we know that's not always the case, but maybe that's why that one's going to 7, where some of the others are sweeps or maybe 4-1. Let's move to the West over here. Golden State Warriors have just capped off an amazing season. I hope Steph Curry comes in second in the MVP ballot behind LeBron James. And you have New Orleans Pelicans. You were hoping to see the brow.
Golden State's going to win it in 5, but I mean, here's the thing. Anthony Davis single-handedly carried that team in the past. He is a fantastic player. If he ever gets some talent around him, that New Orleans team could be very, very dangerous.
Does it remind you of LeBron early in his career?
It does. It does. I think New Orleans, I don't know if Davis is going to sign an extension with them. I mean, if I were Anthony Davis, I'm waiting to hit the free agency and go to Chicago in a few years. I would sign that 1-year tender and go to Chicago in a few years, go to his hometown.
Wow.
That's me, though, if I were Davis. But
yeah, I mean, geez, for New Orleans to try to keep
turn down that guaranteed money early and then go to Chicago in a few years. That's what I would do. If I were Anthony Davis, I think New Orleans is a tough situation because they're locked in with bad deals with Eric Gordon, with Drew Holiday. Holiday's a good player, but they're just locked in some of these deals with Ryan Anderson. I'm going to say Golden State, though, in 5 in this series.
That sounds very similar to LeBron when they tried to surround him with talent after Boozer bamboozled us. And we built the best players that we could find at the time, whether it was the Wally Zerbiak or the Ben Wallace or you're overpaying and then you lock into these longer term, you're getting the best player out there, but it's a crappy deal and you're just, your shoelaces are tied together. And you did what you could, and you end up losing them anyway versus building slow and doing it the right way. It's not an easy thing to try to make this stuff happen. But hey,
no, it's not.
Rockets and Mavericks, Battle of Texas. What are we going to see?
I'm going to say Houston in 6.
Oh, 6. I probably would have picked 5. You thinking 6?
Dallas always gets their wins out of there. Dallas is a good team. Houston, I think, will win the series either way, but I'm going to say Houston in 6.
So in hindsight, Rajon Rondo over there at the Mavericks. Synopsis of that. What are your thoughts?
He's a good player. He just, like I said, he still can't shoot. He can't make a free throw. It's tough. He's not in the league. He's not a superstar like everybody thought he would ever be. But he's been a nice addition to Dallas, and they've had a good season. We got to do these next 2. I got to wrap this
Clippers,
up.
Spurs. Everyone's writing off the Clippers because the Spurs are picking at the right time.
I'm going to say the Spurs in 6.
In 6?
Yeah. Although it is a big advantage for the Clippers to have home court, but San Antonio has been there, done that. Spurs in 6.
Yeah, the Clippers, they've been so good for so long now, and they're just not getting anything out of it. It's got to be frustrating. Trailblazers and Grizzlies, 4 versus 5.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. That's another one. It could almost be a coin flip.
See, the thing is, if the Cavs are playing the Grizzlies, they'd beat them in 4 or 5.
It's all about the matchups, you mean?
Memphis is very inconsistent. I'm trying to think on who I would take on this one. Trying to think who I would take. I'm going to go with Memphis in 7.
Okay, Memphis in was that 6 or 7?
7.
Okay. Grizz in 7. Then there you have it, everybody. There's our NBA playoff preview. And when we all have a little bit more time, and once maybe the first round is cleared up, we'll come back in and reassess where things are at. Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
All right. Follow Zak on Twitter. He's at Zbaris. That's Zbaris. Have a good time at the show, at the wonderful the party that there's going to be with the Cleveland having their first playoff game in a long time. It should be fun. And if you can, send us a picture. All right?
I will send multiple pictures.
All right, man. Have a good time. We'll talk to you soon. There he goes. Zak Baris, everybody.
Take care, Brian.
Take care. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to press pause, and we are going to come back in just a moment here on the TNAM Radio Network.
Your guide to the truth. The new AmericanMedia.com.
And this is John B. Wells reminding you that not only is Brian Engelman a cool guy, and not only is the new AmericanMedia.com a very cool platform, but here's a cool idea for you, too. Are you alone? Not really. Do you like dogs? Do you like cats? You do. Of course you do. Everybody does. One or the other, maybe even both. You know, there are a lot of dogs and cats that are at shelters right now, and if somebody doesn't take them home, they're going to wind up euthanized. That's a nice way of saying they're going to be killed, because there's simply not enough room. I guarantee it, the best dogs and the best cats, the best pets, come from shelters. There's something about dogs and cats. They know. They know where they are. You walk through one of them, and certainly at least one is going to look at you and go, I wish you'd take me home. I'm in hell. Please take me out of here. It'll be the best thing that you ever did for your soul. You'll feel good about it. And not only that, but you have a friend for life. Doesn't matter if you got money, you don't have money. Well, it doesn't make any difference to a dog or cat. All they need is the sound of your voice and maybe even the stroke of your hand, and they're fine. Maybe a little food every once in a while. The sweetest sound that those pets ever hear is your voice. Think it over and adopt a cat or a dog from a local shelter today. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did.